Welcome to the Therapy Show. I'm Lisa Mustard, your host and guide on this journey of learning and professional growth. Here, we transform the way you earn continuing education contact hours. Whether you're on a walk, on a break in between sessions, commuting, or even preparing dinner, you can engage with cutting-edge insights from leading subject matter experts. Each episode features conversations with seasoned professionals who share effective techniques and tools tailored for busy therapists like you. Our goal is to enrich your practice and fit seamlessly into your active life, ensuring you stay informed and inspired without the hassle of traditional methods. You can say goodbye to sitting in front of a computer screen watching hours and hours of recorded trainings. Instead, we make continuing education as easy and accessible as your favorite podcast. So make sure to visit the website, lisamustard.com, to sign up for our continuing education membership. It's a fantastic way to earn your credits while enjoying the podcast. Join us on the Therapy Show, where your professional development continues wherever you are. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the news? Are you struggling with political stress? Because you're not alone. As a therapist, I've had so many clients come to me feeling anxious, drained, and even hopeless about political changes and stress. And I wanted to give them more than just a conversation. I wanted to provide real tools to help them cope. And so that's why I created a workbook for navigating political stress. It's packed with practical exercises, journal prompts, and strategies to set boundaries, reduce anxiety, and focus on what you can control. And for you, my fellow therapists and coaches, this is an editable ebook, so you can customize it to fit your practice, add your branding, and adjust the content to meet your clients' needs. If your clients are struggling with political stress, this workbook can help. So go ahead and check the link in the show notes to learn more about this workbook and see if it is a fit for you and your clients. Please note that the content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional mental health care, diagnose, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your own licensed mental health provider or medical professional regarding your specific situation. While I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and my guests are also professional counselors, the discussions in this podcast are meant to offer general insights and should not be taken as personalized therapeutic advice. Listening to this podcast does not establish a therapist-client relationship with me or any of my guests. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or have thoughts of harming yourself or others, please contact a mental health professional, call 911, or go to the nearest emergency room immediately. You can also reach out to a crisis hotline such as the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 in the United States for immediate support. Every individual's journey is unique, and what works for one person may not be suitable for another, so please use discretion and seek appropriate care as needed. Well, hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of The Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and I'm so excited to welcome David Diana to the podcast. Welcome, David. It is so fabulous to have you here.
Oh, Lisa, thanks so much for having me. It's really an honor. I love all that you're doing. And so thanks for inviting us to kind of come and talk about the conference. It's great.
Yeah, no, you're so welcome. I was just sharing with David before we hit record how much I love the Lowcountry Mental Health Conference, and I've had you guys in the back of my brain or my back pocket, wanting to bring you on to share about the conference for a long time. So I'm so excited that you're here. Will you give us a little bit an overview of what the Lowcountry Mental Health Conference is and whatever you would like to share about it?
Yeah. Well, it started like 2012 was when we had the idea. And it was basically a collaboration between the South Carolina Department of Mental Health, one of their community mental health centers in Charleston, and a small nonprofit called Mental Health Heroes, which provides all kinds of like crisis care for people in the Charleston community who may not be able to afford things like psychological testing or medications, or even beyond that for families who are impacted by mental health issues. And they were trying to find a vehicle, fundraising vehicle. And this idea, the concept of a conference came up, and we started it in 2012 with out of the kindness of the College of Charleston's heart giving us free space. And it sort of just kind of blossomed from there. And really, I remember we were all excited. We had 180 people there and one exhibitor. And, now we're averaging about 14, 1,500 people in person and about 500, 600 virtually from kind of all over the world. And we have about 98 exhibitors. that have been coming each year. So it's kind of grown into this big thing. And yeah, the Low Country Mental Health Conference is really kind of a special, unique conference in a number of different ways that we can kind of talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like no other conference I've been to, and I feel like I've been to quite a few. So, what I love most about it is, first of all, it's in Charleston, which is living in South Carolina is one of my favorite places to go. And I love the center that you have it in. It's just gorgeous. And the way you all have the setup of the conference, the speakers, the flow, the different types of presentations that you have, it's gotten to be a really unique experience. Can you talk a little bit about, of course, you have like the main presenters and but you also do other really cool things in between, which I think is really neat.
Yeah, we do a lot of cool things. When we started it again, we were kind of like, wow, there's a lot of educational opportunities for people in the mental health space and even people beyond who are just interested in mental health in general. There were different universities and teaching organizations that were out there, and what we were trying to do is something a little bit unique. Oh, and so what you'll find is if you come to the conference, it's really kind of it's really a ride
Mm,
in many ways. We have people from different disciplines that come and share their work. So it could be an artist, it could be a philosopher, it could be a spiritual leader, a social activist, and obviously it could be a psychotherapist or a neuroscientist or psychiatrist, what have you. So it sort of runs the gamut and it gives people some really unique perspectives. I've had psychiatrists that come to me afterwards saying that they're so used to getting the same old stuff, which I think is important and needed. But we offer a little bit of an alternative. It's still a lot of evidence based content that we're sharing, but we're also sort of waking people up to sort of different ways and different paradigms, unique ways of looking at mental health that might help them help the people that they serve. Yeah.
mm. Okay, okay, and you also have artists that come, I poetry and you have music, dance, I think.
Yeah, we
It's
even had dance, we poetry, one of the poets, David White, some people may know is out on the West Coast and, is a great poet. He came and spoke. I've had, all kinds of different musicians, Edwin McCain,
Mhm,
sort of local to the area, but we've had several more, and even last year we did something new and unique, which we try and do every year, which was, voice, from young people. So we had, teenagers from schools across different parts of South Carolina that came and they shared their perspectives. And one of which was there was a dance routine, and others shared poetry, others shared artwork.
yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of try and look at mental health issues from a number of different perspectives, and art is a great vehicle, I find, for that.
Yeah, definitely. And so this year, I peeked at the speakers and it looks
Yeah.
pretty exciting. So far I saw Elliot Connie coming and he's kind of not a new name, but he seems to be kind of up and coming in the world of presenting and doing continuing education. And is it solution focused? I can't recall. Yeah,
Solution focused brief
brief.
therapy.
That's right.
He's Elliot Connie is a licensed professional counselor in Texas. I think
Mhm,
it's Austin or maybe Dallas. And yeah, he has one of the largest organizations around solution focused behavioral therapy in terms of training.
mhm,
And again, I think what we try and do around with the Low Country Mental Health Conferences is give all these different perspectives. So what you'll find this year is we have more solution focused brief models,
mhm.
CBT. We have psychodynamic perspectives. And so it really kind of gives you like a whole continuum where you can explore. But yeah, Elliot is fantastic. I think he's getting more and more visibility. He's been on, I think, fairly often on Charlemagne the God, their morning show at a national level. And so, yeah, he's going to offer both a keynote and a lunch session for kind of a deeper dive into the modality.
Oh, awesome. So, yeah, that's what I remember too is you have these lunch time sessions where you can kind of go in deeper with the presenter that might have been a keynote. So I think that's really unique and really cool that y'all do that.
It
Yeah.
is. I'm glad you brought that up, Lisa, because like I think another unique aspect of the conference, the Low Country Mental Health Conference is, whereas a lot of conferences have tracks that
Mhm.
you can go down, we basically everything sort of is keynote based in the main auditorium that we have, and everybody attends those sessions. And then as we grew and we got feedback from folks, they got so excited from the keynotes. They wanted, oh God, how do I get a deeper dive? How do I get more a smaller kind of conversation with the speaker? And that's where we built in the pre-conference, which is July, which is a Wednesday, and it's in the afternoon and the evening where you can have smaller kind of classroom-based sessions. And then you're right, every day we have lunch sessions where you can pick from 4 different choices, and they're usually in their smaller kind of groups.
Are you tired of sitting in front of a computer to watch hours and hours and hours of recorded trainings so you can get your continuing education requirements fulfilled? Look, I was, and I decided to do something about it. I have created convenient on the go learning that's completely audio based. I call them pod courses. Well, what's a pod course? Think of it as a hybrid between a captivating podcast and a self study course tailored for you, my perpetually busy counselor friend. In my pod courses, you can explore subjects like addiction issues, ethics and values in counseling, holistic approaches, and much more, all while you're on the move. Whether you're commuting, jogging, relaxing at home, whatever, pod courses blend your favorite podcasts with enriching self study courses, perfect for those always on the go. How it works. So tune in anywhere, anytime. Enjoy the pod courses on any device wherever podcasts are available. Quiz yourself, solidify your understanding with a brief quiz after each pod course. Then, last but not least, certify your smarts. Achieve a score of at least 80% to receive a certificate of completion. If you're curious to learn more about my pod course offerings, head to the link lisamustard.com/pod courses or just click the link in the show notes. Pod courses are brought to you with pride by Mustard Consulting LLC, your trusted NBCC ASEP provider.
So again, and usually it's the keynote giving a keynote, and then they will do a lunch session. And that gives you the opportunity to kind of meet with them, ask them more questions, and they have more of an opportunity to expound on their work.
Very cool. Very cool. So right now, I guess registration is open. Is that right? It's
It is
open? Okay.
open. And I'm sure you'll put the website on
Uh-huh.
there, lowcountrymhconference.com, and the dates are July 30th through August 1st.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so, and you can come virtually. So we have folks from all over the world. We have
Wow.
people come in and they can get CE credits and CME credits, and they're coming from, we had some folks from New Zealand, Australia,
Wow.
the UK, South Africa, uh, Canada, most of the English speaking countries were getting people from kind of all over. And our virtual platform it's really fun. It's actually what's interesting about that, Lisa, that I didn't even realize when we started it about 3 years ago, was that there's so much of an interactive element because there's a chat feature.
Mm.
So all the people who are watching virtually, something may inspire them about a talk and they may bring up a point or ask a question, and then somebody else in the community will answer it
Mhm.
while the talk's going on. So it's been really neat.
That is cool. So if you can't make it to Charleston, which I highly recommend you make it if you can, it's a beautiful city. It will be hot. I have to warn you, it will be hot.
It is dead of summer,
There's
yeah.
no way around it. It will be hot. Just come prepared. But that's a wonderful way to still be able to attend and get, I think it's just, what was it? I was looking, it was like you get 16 credit hours if you're there live, and then it was 14 if you're there virtually. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, and the main reason for that is that we don't have the pre-conference
Yeah.
sessions are
Right.
not available for the virtual platform. So that Wednesday, if you're virtual, you wouldn't be able to do that virtually. You would
Mhm.
just have the Thursday and the Friday. So it's up to, if you were to attend all the sessions for a virtual, it's 14 contact hours, and then it's up to 16 if you were to come in person and also choose to do the pre-conference. You don't have to do the pre-conference, but a lot of people like it. And
Yeah.
we have 3 different choices, which I can talk to you about and all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we'll definitely put the link to check out the conference. Or is everybody already confirmed, or are you still waiting on a couple speakers, or
No, I think we're all confirmed.
Mhm.
So when you go to the website and you'll be able to look at the full schedule. That is the schedule. There's just, I think, one lunch session where we're just ironing out the talk topic.
Mhm.
But really everything that you see there is what it is. But our next step is we always try and have some surprises each day. So we're working on sort of the surprise element of like what the mornings might look like, what some of the breaks or lunches might look like. And so I'm getting excited about that. And that's where we may bring in some more artists and things like that too.
Well, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That it yeah, that's really special. And so do you is the proceeds of the conference, do they go to Mental Health Heroes? Is that
Yeah,
how it
that's a
works?
great point. It is a fundraising event. So
Okay.
the other nice thing is if you come and pay to attend, that those funds are really going to a great place because they go to Mental Health Heroes
Mhm.
nonprofit that I mentioned, which is really providing direct support and care for families and individuals who may need it from in terms of struggling with mental illness or mental health issues.
Sure.
So it's really a great cause.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll put the link to that website as well so you guys can check out Mental Health Heroes. That is a South Carolina or Charleston area nonprofit though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very small nonprofit. It has a great board and it focuses on the Charleston kind of metro region
Yeah.
here in
Yeah.
South.
Awesome. So, if it's okay, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about your role and how you
Yeah,
got into doing this because you're also a therapist, right? Like you're a licensed
I
counselor.
am a licensed professional
Okay.
counselor. I practice now, and I've been in the field for like 25 years as I'm dating myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think about it.
Oh my gosh.
But I love the field, and so in some of the evenings and weekends, I have a private practice, so to kind of keep connected to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you balance that? Because it seems like it's a lot. It like makes my brain. It's already hard to be a therapist and have a podcast, but to be a therapist and then your day jobs like marketing and a conference, that seems really different. But how
Yeah,
does
it
that
is
work?
pretty different, and it can get to be a lot of work. I'm the director of marketing for the South Carolina Department of Mental Health,
Okay.
and like I said, back in 2012, I was working for the Department of Mental Health more on a part-time kind of consulting basis, and I had a lot of experience with different hospitals and private organizations doing sales and marketing for them. And this idea of the conference kind of came up for us to try. I thought it might be a good space for Mental Health Heroes as a fundraising vehicle. And I just didn't realize that, we kind of hit this niche in terms of it getting going. And so, yeah, I started the conference with the support from one of the community mental health centers that are part of the Department of Mental Health. And then I've run it and been the director of it since its inception. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think my brain would want to explode of trying to figure all this out because it's
Yeah,
grown. Like you said, it's grown from 2012 to what it is today. So
it has, yeah.
when you think back to starting it, because I know there's some therapists out there that listen to the show that consider, maybe dipping their toe in other ways to bring in an income. And I have spoken to some that are interested in doing retreats or conferences. Like, what do you have any just overall advice for those listening who might be interested?
Yeah, I think it's really important to kind of, keep those ideas and those dreams alive because, in today's marketplace, I mean, things are so fragmented,
Mhm.
and technology has really done that. And I mean fragmented in a positive way. I think what happens is that these sort of gatekeeper components have kind of been, pushed to the side here. So everything from writing to podcasts to sort of getting your message out that way to education, there's a lot of different opportunities for people to find their space and to be able to have a voice and to share that with their communities and whatever that means in terms of scalability. There's so much scalability out there. It's to really kind of go for it. With the conference, one of the lessons I learned is, to have a vision and an idea that you're passionate about, but then, just focus on sort of where you're at and take the small steps. When we started, we had nothing, we had no money. We just had the idea and we wanted to do something. And so we started for a couple of years, pretty small, humble beginnings, but we learned and it got exciting. And then we kind of found our vision of what we wanted it to be. So the general brand of it. And then I think that kind of gave us the opportunity to grow. And then, the just leveraging your network as we did was really powerful too. So we couldn't have done it at the beginning without the help of places like the College of Charleston or the Medical University of South Carolina, or the Department of Mental Health, or any of these other partners that supported us. Palmetto Lowcountry Behavioral Health was our first and only exhibitor for the first year, kind of a thing. And so, yeah, I think it's really great and important, especially now with mental health, right? I don't know if you see it, Lisa, but I mean, there's just so much more. And maybe it was COVID that did this, but much more of a conversation around mental health. It seems to be an issue that so many people are talking about much more now. There's less stigma
Mm.
around it in many ways, although still needs to be improvement. And I think the younger generation is much more attuned to it as well. So it's kind of a really interesting time to be in the mental health space, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can agree on a lot of levels. You can be very busy right now as
Yes.
a
Yeah.
therapist for sure. And but we definitely want you to take time out to get your continuing education contact hour. So I hope everybody will come and check out the Low Country Mental Health. And hey, if I am there, or I might be there virtually, I'm not sure. I have to look at my schedule because my kids are super busy in the summer. I'm there. I would love to meet up with listeners who are going to be there as well. So that would be really fun. So check out the link in the show notes. And is there anything else you want us to know about the conference?
Gosh, we just have some really heavy hitters again this year. And we have Dr. Stephen Hayes, the originator of ACT,
Mhm.
Acceptance Commitment Therapy, who's coming from the University of Nevada. He's going to be giving a keynote, but also interestingly enough, on Friday, August 1st, the entire afternoon for 4 hours, he's giving a really detailed kind of workshop program around ACT. And the idea there is he's trying to give methods and tools that clinicians can maybe integrate into their own models, which is, I think, going to be really, really interesting. I have Dr. Nancy McWilliams, who's visiting professor at the University of Rutgers. So she's up in the New York City area, and she is really an incredible and incredibly powerful person in the mental health space, especially in the world of psychoanalytic and psychodynamic therapy. She's the author of 4 textbooks on psychoanalytic therapy and diagnosis, and she's the co-editor of the Psychodynamic Diagnostic Manual, which is another really big deal. And she's in the space of personality disorders. She also is quite impressive. So she has some really great talks on that. She's giving 2 talks. I have Dr. Jonathan Shedler from the University of California, San Francisco, who's coming, who also is really impressive in the psychodynamic space. I have Dr. Debbie Joffe Ellis, who was the wife of Dr. Albert Ellis, the founder of REBT, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy, which really kind of ushered in the cognitive behavioral movement. And she was here last year, and we got overwhelming response. People wanted me to have her come back. She's quite dynamic, really knows her stuff around REBT and how to sort of use it in today's day and age. And so we have her. I have Thomas Moore, who's the author of the famous book Care of the Soul, and he will give a really unique perspective just from sort of a Jungian or archetypal kind of perspective, as he's influenced heavily by James Hillman, and he was a former Catholic monk. So, we just have just some incredible folks. I'm just looking over here, Lisa, so I don't
Sure.
forget some people I'm excited about. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, and she's out from over, she was trained at UCLA, and she's a clinician in Los Angeles and a psychologist. And she's really well known in the space of narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. And she's going to give a talk on that. So we just have a number of great talks. There's some talks on addiction and lunch sessions, a lot of practical things if you're a clinician. And again, whether you're a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a nurse, counselor, MFT, social worker, we have all our addictions counselor, we'll get the credits for coming and attending.
And on top of this amazing conference, I cannot stress again, you will be in Charleston, South Carolina with some of the best restaurants
Yeah, well, we
in the
haven't even mentioned
Southeast.
the venue,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
you've alluded to, which is the
yeah.
Gilliard Performance Center. in downtown Charleston. So if you're not familiar with Charleston, that's basically the venue in Charleston. It's where the Charleston Symphony performs. It's in a beautiful
It's beautiful.
venue. They've been so nice to us these last several years that we've had it there, and so that's an incredible experience. And like you said, it's right with walking distance of all sort of key things in Charleston. In spite of the heat, you'll still be inspired to go out and explore. And we have great relationships with hotels in terms of discounts,
Yeah.
all walking distance. But then again, don't forget the virtual piece. If you can't
Right.
make it, we have a state of the art virtual platform, so it's really an incredible kind of an interactive experience that you'll be able to sort of almost feel like you're there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And for those in South Carolina, it's right before our license is up
It,
for renewal. So if you
it's a
are,
big year, yes.
yeah, so it's a big year for us here in South Carolina. August 31st, you got to get all your CEUs done. So I always keep that in the back of my mind. I can knock out, what was it, 14 or 16
The
if
14 or 16, yeah,
worst
depending on
case
your
scenario
university and that.
if you need them. So, well, David, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I will put all the links for y'all to check out. Check out the presenters, the schedule, as well as your different options for being there live or in virtual. So, thank you again for being here.
Oh, Lisa, thanks so much again. Thanks for all you do.
Oh,
And
you.
thanks to everyone out there who's listening. And we hope to see you this summer at the
Yep.
Lowcountry Mental Health Conference.
Awesome.
Please note that the therapy show with Lisa Mustard is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your therapist, doctor, or physician before implementing any suggestions from the show. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine. Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover all the pod courses and other continuing education offerings. And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.